Hey guys, it's Shalise from Living Color Duct Tape, and today I am here with a hair tutorial. I've been getting asked by everyone how I do the hair on my Loomigurumi dolls. So this is the hairstyle I'm going to focus on. It's my Princess Anna, and I'm going to show you the technique to do this. Now, this pattern can be found from Jana Girl on Etsy. She sells wonderful amigurumi patterns, which you can translate into Loomigurumi. And I've gotten permission from Jana to show some of, I guess, the translations on the more difficult parts on how to transfer it from amigurumi to Loomigurumi and still get a really good outcome, especially like hair and things like that. So I'm going to be working in the series. This is the first video of that series. Okay, so what you're going to do, and I'm going to make the same size head as the doll here, but you can do this for any sized head. So I'm going to assume that you know what size head you want and you've already made it. Okay, so what you're going to do to start. Okay, so first what you're going to need is, you're going to need your bands. You're going to need a crochet hook. And I'm going to show you how to do these with bands, but I'm also going to show you how to use invisible thread. This has become really big in the Rainbow Loom Loomigurumi community, where we use clear thread to attach the parts. In my opinion, it gives it a much cleaner, more professional looking finish, but there are a lot of people that still like using the band, so it's totally up to you. I'll let you know, or I'll show you how to do it both ways, but I am going to be using mostly the invisible thread. So, and it's really cheap. I got mine in Joann's. It was like $3.49, and I had a 50% off coupon, so it's super cheap. And this has 274 yards on it, so you know, can't really lose with that. And I'm also using a crochet thread for that. You can use any thread for it. You might also want to use some stitch markers. Okay, so I'm going to kind of walk you or tell you how to make the wig cap, and I might do another tutorial on making a wig cap by itself. We'll just see how everything goes. I'm getting a really bad shadow. Let's see. That might be a little better. Okay, so when you get your head and you made it, it's all stuffed how you want it. To make a wig cap, you basically want to make half of your head. So in this case, that light is not working, sorry. In this case, I have, you know, I did my magic loop, an increase, another increase. I think I did about 3 increases and then two rows of single crochets and then decreases. So what I did for the wig cap here is I did the loop, an increase, another one, another one, another one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 increases after the magic loop, and then I have 2 single crochet rounds. So it's a little more than half, but when you put it onto your doll, it looks about half, maybe a little less. Okay, so I will probably do another video to show it to you, because it is a little bit difficult to understand, but hopefully you got what I was saying. So basically make half of the head. Okay, you then want to, now if this had eyes it'd be a little better, but I'm going to be making a doll out of this afterwards, so I didn't want to put eyes there because I'm using something different. But you basically want to line up your wig cap to about where you want it, and then you want it to come down pretty far in the back, and then I normally take my my finish off loop and put it in the back. So if you think about it, the neck's going to go about here, so you want to bring it down pretty far in the back so it doesn't show anything weird, especially like here the hair is split, so there's nothing hanging down here to cover it up. Okay, so what I do sometimes, I'm going to try it now, is just take a couple of stitch markers and pin your wig cap about where you want it. So I'll put one in here, if it goes through like that, just to kind of keep it in place. And again, if you have your eyes in already, it's a little easier to figure out where exactly you want the wig cap. Put one about here, and I'm going to work on this side. Now, to start off, if you don't have invisible thread or any matching thread, you don't have to use invisible, you can also use matching thread. What you want to do to attach it, well, first I want to tuck this in. And I normally start where my slip knot is. There's two ways that I use to attach anything to parts to an object with rubber bands. The first way is, it's a much quicker way, it's easier, but it's not necessarily as sturdy. So let me go ahead and zoom in a bit. Okay, so the first way, you insert your crochet hook and bring it through the loop here. Grab a band, pull it through, and make a slip knot. Okay? And then you would go over a few stitches. So say 1, 2, about 3 or 4. You'd go through again, pull a band through, preferably without the stuffing. And pull a slip knot. And you'd basically do that every few stitches around your object, okay? And then, of course, once you're done, you would just go through and pull your bands through to hide them, okay? So that's one way. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And this one will just kind of keep there because it keeps it in place. Alright, so the next way is you're basically going to start off the same way, put your hook through and grab a band. But instead of making a slip knot, you're going to, well, you are going to make a slip knot, but you're not going to pull it hard or tight. You're just going to pull it through like that for a stitch. You then will go into, stuffing is everywhere, my goodness. You'll go into your next stitch, pull a band through, pull a band through, reclaim it, and the single crochet. Go through to your next stitch, grab a band, pull it through, reclaim it, second stitch. And you would do that all the way around until you get back to your starting stitch, which would be here. So you do this all the way around, and this is much more secure than just putting slip knots, but it is a little more time consuming. Okay? Okay, so as I said, what I'm going to use is invisible thread, but invisible thread is invisible, so it's really hard to see on camera. So I'm going to use this crocheting thread, I guess it is, just to show you how to get started on it, okay? So what you're going to do is, first of all, thread your needle, tie a knot at the end, and cut the ends off pretty short. Okay, you're going to take your needle through that same loop that you would if you were using rubber bands and pull it through until you have about this much left. Let's get it, there we go. You're then going to put your needle through it like that and pull it through, so it's making its own slip knot in a sense. Okay, and then from here, all you do is loop it and go through the next loop. And what you want to do is grab one or two bands and go through both of the bands of your stitch and pull it through. I mean, as you see, it just goes. You can pretty much do this in your sleep. You just want to make sure you grab enough bands to make it sturdy and pull it through. And if you have a little thread sticking out there, you just kind of pull on it. If I can get one separated, find out which one it is, and pull that through. Okay, so it goes like that. Now, I'm going to show you how to finish off right now, because I'm not going to do the rest of this with this yarn. I'm going to use the invisible thread. So you loop all the way around till you get back to the beginning, and then what you're going to do is you're going to basically go through that exact same loop. Okay, you're going to put your needle through, pull it tight. You're going to go through again, loop it once, so you're going to loop it like that, bring it back around like that, pull it through, pull it really tight, and then you're going to cut so you have a pretty good tail there to work with. You're going to separate your yarn and you're going to tie it once and twice to make a knot, and then cut your ends really close but not on the knot, and that would secure your thread. So go ahead and pause the video. I am going to go ahead and use the invisible thread to finish this, and I will be back with the next step. Okay, so now that we have our wig cap on, it is time for us to make the part. So you can see here in Anna's hair that her part is on her left hand side, my right. Well, this video I think it's going to end up being on my left. Anyway, decide what side you want to be, have her part on. I'm going to do it on this side. So for this you're going to need bands and your crochet hook. Okay? You're going to come to the very front of where you want her part and stick your crochet needle through. Okay, there we go. You're going to grab a band, and you're only putting this through the wig cap part, not the head part. I'm going to grab a band and just bring it, make a slip knot but not tight. Okay? So I'm going to turn it this way for me. Okay, so it's going to go back this way. So you're going to go into like the next round. Bring a band through. There we go. And make a single crochet. Go into your next round. Grab the band. Bring it through. Single crochet. Let's see, where do I want to go here? I think I want to go, I'm going to skip a row and go into the next one just because it's so close together. So bring the band through, single crochet. Go into the next row, and you're going to do this all the way back until you get to the back. So go ahead and finish this all the way, and I will catch up to you when you're done. Okay, my last clip got deleted somehow. So, yeah, so I'm going to go back and show you where I left off, which was, okay, the part. I forgot where I left off. So when you get to the end, what you want to do is take a band and make a slip knot at the back of the head, and then hide your band inside, okay? So now it's time to make your locks for your hair. The locks are going to look like this. Since the part is shorter on this side than it is on this side, of course you're going to have shorter, or it's smaller on this side than it is on this side. You're going to have shorter strings of locks on this side than you will on this side, okay? So I will show you how to make one. I did 20 locks for this side and 25 for this side, and I'm doing green and black for this project. But you can use more or less. I'm not even sure if I'm really going to use that many, but I do have them in case, and I can always use them for another project or just take them apart. So I have my bands here. Now the hard part is starting it, okay, because you have to have bands that are available to cut at the ends to make the frayed look. You don't want loops down here, okay? And same on this side. So you're going to make a T with your bands. You're going to take one band, kind of push it together, and lay it on your finger like that. You're going to take another one and scrunch it together, or pinch it together, and lay it across, like so. Okay? So you have something like this. Now what you're going to do is kind of hold that in place, like that. You're going to take your crochet hook and put it through those two loops. So you have that, and you're holding the other two loops in this hand. You're going to just make sure that these two loops are even. And then pull the front loop underneath the back loop and pull really tight without breaking it. Make a slip knot, but you want to pull it tight and kind of stretch this band out so it looks more like that. You then take your hook and put it back through the two loops that you were holding, and we're going to chain 11 more. So this is the first chain, or the first of the chain, and we're going to do 11 more. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so you have a chain like this, and this is going to go on the shorter side. So I'm just going to go ahead and add it to this bunch. And what I did is I added these onto my stitch markers. You can put them on a holding hook, a toothpick, a straw, whatever. But I just put 4 on each one, and I had 5, so I made 20. So that's how I kind of kept track. Now you want to do the same thing for the other side, but for instance in my case, I did 17 for the larger side, so it evens out. So again, you want to do the exact same technique, but make them longer, and you can kind of gauge, depending on the size of your head, how long to make each side. Okay, so on the bigger side, the bigger side, I did about 25, and again, it's mixed with green and black because that's what I'm working on this time. So go ahead and make your chains, and come back when you're all done. If you want to make about 40 to 45, just to be on the safe side, 20 on one side and 25 on the other, that's great. That way you won't run out. And come back when you are done, and we will start to attach them. Alrighty, so hopefully you are done with all of your chains here. So I'm going to show you how to attach the chains with both rubber bands and clear thread, which I much prefer. So let's take one chain here. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to attach your chains to the part. Okay, so this side of the stitch, we will attach this side of the hair. this side of the stitch will attach on this side of the hair. So for the first stitch, what you're going to do is take your hook and poke it through to the side that you're attaching the hair to. You're going to grab your hair like that through both loops and grab a band. You pull the band through all of those loops, reclaim the end, and make a slip stitch. And that is your first strand of hair, or a lock of hair. Of course, you're going to want to hide the bands. So it's easier when you're attaching hair to do them as you go, as opposed to leaving them for the last step. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach one more with you with the band. And we're going to go into that same loop. You're going to grab some hair and a band, pull the band through all of the loops, reclaim it on your hook, and pull through to make a slip knot. And you have number 2. Okay? So that's how you would attach your hair using bands. And I like to do one side and then the other. You can work back and forth if you want, but I get things mixed up too quickly. So I want to finish all of the same on one side, then I do the other one, okay? Now, how would you use it with invisible thread? So I'm going to use this thread again, which I will need to take out because it's not going to complement the colors at all. So you go ahead and thread your needle. You're going to make a knot very close to the end, and then cut it very close to the knot. Okay? So you're kind of going to do the same thing. You're going to, let's see, we're going to move up to the next stitch. You're going to take your needle and go through a stitch like this. Oh, see, I already almost got it mixed up. This time I'm going to use a black lock. You're going to put your needle through the 2 loops of the lock that you're adding. And this is how to start it off. So you're going to take the thread through. You're going to come back to the bottom, go through your 2 strands of thread, and pull it into a knot. And you would pull it tight. I'm not going to pull it that tight because I'm going to take this out once I'm done showing you. So then what I've noticed is it makes it lay much better if you go from the outside in with the thread. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and do a green one. I'm going to take my needle and put it through the lock first. And you can just go ahead and kind of pull it down. And then I'm going to take the needle and go through the part on this side. Bring your thread through and place it like that. Then you're going to take your next lock, go through the loops on the lock, bring the needle through your part, only on this side, and bring it through. And you'll basically just loop around until you get to the front. So go ahead and get started, and once we get to the front, I will meet up with you. Okay, I'm back, and I am using my invisible thread, and you kind of get a gleam off of it. So it's going to be really interesting to tell what I'm doing. But I'm here with the last lock that I'm going to add. So it's going to be a black one. I'm going to take my thread through it, or my needle through it, and I'm going to attach it right here in the front. Like that. Okay, so since it is my last one, I'm going to take my needle and go back through that and I'll do one loop. I'm going to take it and go through again. And then I'm going to go through, you really can't see what I'm doing, but it's the same process. I messed that up. I can't even see what I'm doing. Same process as what we did with the thread to finish off. Okay, so you might be able to see it here. So you take it through, and then you put your needle in between the two lines, pull it pretty tight. You're going to do it one more time, but this time you're going to loop it twice through there. So 1 and 2. And this is just the way I finish off when I'm sewing. A lot of different people have different ways to do it, so whatever works best for you works great for me. You're going to cut your thread, and then you're going to make it in a knot, and this is the same process that I showed you earlier with the yarn. Alright, cut it close to the knot. Alright, so this side is done, and I have 5 locks left, so I ended up using 15 on this side. Now you don't want to get it too thick. The reason being is you're about to braid this. If it's too thick, it's already kind of hard to braid because it's rubber bands and they shift, and you know, it does a lot of things on its own. So you don't want to make it too thick where it's going to be even more problematic for you. Okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to separate this into 3 segments. So I'm saying maybe about there. So you have 2 here and 1 in the middle. Okay? And you're going to do a 3, strand braid. So to make it easier, since this is rubber bands, I'm going to take the middle part and just kind of hold it down here. Okay? I'm going to take the back part first, and you want to stretch it out as you're braiding. You're going to cross over that middle like that. Make sure you keep the ends separated. Okay, so I cross that side over. So the middle now becomes your left side, or your right side, whatever side this is for you. Middle becomes that, and then that becomes the middle. You're then going to take the opposite side and braid it over the middle and swap sides there. So if you know how to do a French braid or just a 3-strand braid, you kind of know what you're doing. It's just a little more difficult because it's bands. Okay, I hope you can see that. You kind of have to hold it. So then you're going to repeat. You're going to bring that side over, kind of pull that through. I'm going to bring that side over. And I think I can fit one more. Like that. Maybe one more. Okay, like this. So you basically braid until you feel comfortable, okay? So the braid is going to end up looking somewhat like this. You then take a matching or coordinating band, and you're going to wrap it around. Try to get as close to the ends as possible. And by the ends, I mean where you started the link, not down here. So you want to come up above all of these, okay? And that is your first braid, okay? So you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. You're going to just attach them to this side of the part, and then you're going to braid it, and then we're going to go ahead and do the bangs. So go ahead and get this side finished, and I'll catch up with you on the other side. Okay, I'm back. So you should have something that looks very similar to this. And you're probably saying, Shalise, the wig cap is showing. What's up with that? We'll get to that in a minute. Right now we're going to work on the bangs. Okay, so since I'm using green and black, I'm going to use a couple of each to make the bangs. So sorry about that, I'm going to start where I think the middle should be. I'm thinking right about here. And I'm going to take my hook and put it through the first stitch here that's available. I'm going to take the band that I want to use for the bang, pull it through, reclaim the other end, and make a slip knot. Okay? And you're basically going to kind of overlap them. You can put them in, you know, one per stitch if you want. You can do two in some stitches, you know, one in others. However you want to do your bangs, whether you know, you want them thicker or thinner. And so you just keep adding them. And you can space them out a little more if you want. Because once we cut them, they are going to fray out a little bit, which is good. So let's put one here. It is a little harder for me to find stitches that work because I use the thread. So that's a little bit of a drawback with the thread. Not really much though. I still think that the thread is much cleaner and easier and faster to work with. Again, this is my opinion and not influencing anyone. I'm just giving you another option that is available and not a lot of people have thought of. Actually, I didn't even think of this idea. Someone in one of my Facebook groups I'm a part of, I think it was Rainbow Loom Obsession where I first heard of the idea of adding or using invisible thread. And I said, hey, I should try that. That sounds pretty cool. And I tried it once and fell in love with it, and I'll never go back, I don't think, to regular ways of attaching. So. Alright, so I did 6 here, or I did 7 bands. Like I said, you can do more or less. And what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and snip the end of each band. Now, you could go across like this, if you can see that, on your bands, to make them a little shorter. But I want mine to be, I think I want them longer, but let's see. Yeah, I want mine to be a little longer. I'm going to make kind of like a zombie dead doll, so she's going to look kind of crazy when I'm done. Okay, so now we're going to address this wig cap. And it is going to be hard for me to show you because I am going to be using the invisible thread for this. But I guess you could do this next technique with bands. So maybe I will show you, or we'll explore together to see how to attach it with bands. So what you want to do is you kind of want to tug on your braid and just kind of pull it a little looser so you have more room up here. You want to bring it down to about here. So as you see, it went from that to fully covered, just about. Let's bring it down a little more. So right about there. So if you wanted to use a band to kind of attach this where you want to go, you're going to need to take your hook and put it through one of the strands or the loops on the strand. Then take it and put it through your wig cap. Grab a band and pull it through all of those loops and make a slip knot. Of course, you want to hide your bands. And again, since you're going to be doing, if you use bands, you're going to be doing quite a few of these. You want to hide your bands as you go and not after, okay? So as you see, that kind of holds it fairly well. And that's definitely an option. What I'm going to do is sew it in different spots. So I'm going to take my needle and kind of go through here and grab a black strand of hair. And again, I'm just starting this piece of thread, so I'm going to have to do a knot to start it. Now when you're doing this, you're not going to loop like normal. You're going to want to go ahead and double loop it. So each stitch should probably be double secured, so that if you go to different places on the hair, it won't, see how that's not moving? Before it would have. It would have just kind of popped back in place. So then we're going to move on to a piece here. So we already have that black piece in place. I'm going to kind of go in here and grab, it's really hard to tell, I'm actually going into the face because I want it to come down. Now what did I do? There we go. I'm going to kind of find a place where I want to attach. I'm going to go through the hair into the face and just kind of grab a loop and out, okay? I'm going to pull that, and again you're going to double loop that. And this is one of those times where you're very glad you have invisible thread, because it's just going to blend in. You're really not even going to notice that unless you're really looking. Okay, so that's there, and I think I want to do one more just to be safe. I think I'm going to attach it down here at the bottom of the face. And here you're just kind of guessing, really. There's really no specific technique to this one. You just want to make sure it's attached securely to a face, or an area where you want the hair to lay, and it's not going to pop back up and show the wig cap that's underneath. Okay, so that is all done in the front. Let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring some down in the back, especially since the yarn that I used to demonstrate is showing. So instead of cutting my thread and having to re-knot it and everything, I'm just going to simply take my needle and go through that braid so it comes out in the back. Okay, and then I can start near the bottom, and so you just want to pull that down like that. I can start from the bottom here and attach. So this time I'm going through the face first because it's closer. I'm going to grab both of these braids and then loop it once more. Like that. I think I need another one, maybe right in here. Oh. Like that. And see, that basically covers that up. So again, I still have enough thread where I can just kind of go underneath, bring it out over here. Okay, so my thread is now here. Okay, I'm going to pull this side down. About there. And see, this is still showing. I'm just going to push these together in the center here. loop those together. Okay, so you have that. Then I'm going to go into a stitch down here on the neck. And that will help secure it so you don't see the yarn anymore. Then we're going to bring this part down. Again, kind of go in the back of the head, grab a braid or two. Right in there. And I think the back is just fine on this side. So I still have enough yarn, or I'm sorry, enough thread. I'm going to go under the braid and come out in front like that. Let's see, we're going to pull this down about there. And see, when you're pulling the braids or the locks down, it kind of shapes the bangs for you as well. It kind of pushes those down into place. So right here in the front, I'm just going to go ahead and attach this kind of to the cheek area. Okay, so we have that one attached. Now we need to bring the top part down a bit. And this black one's a little loose, so I think I will use that to kind of anchor. You know, I actually need to go in the middle here, and let's see, let's kind of pop up through here. Some and bring it back out right around here. And again, like I said, this is kind of a guessing game, and you just kind of have to keep doing it until it works. And see, that pulled it down exactly how far I wanted it to go down. Now I can work on the front part, and this is only going to be a couple of stitches. I'm going to take the black one, go through the face, come back up to this green one. Close that down, and then what I'm going to do is put my needle through the black one again, come back up through the green one here, and then grab onto the black and kind of stretch that so it blends a little better. Okay. Now the only problem I have is that this is still pulling up somewhere. I think it's in the back. So I'm just going to do one more, like, you know, dip in and guess where I'm going type stitch. I'm thinking I'm going to go under the hair here, come out here, and then go through the face, come back over here. Let's see how that holds. And that feels much better. Okay, so I'm going to hold that tight and then anchor it to part of the braid right about here. Stitch through here to kind of hide that yarn a little better. That's still showing on this side a little bit. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to bring that through here, and we're going to fasten off. So again, you're going to go through a stitch, go through it again. take it through your thread and pull it tight. Take it through that same place. You're going to wrap it around twice in your thread. Pull tight. And then cut it and tie it. I know this last part has been probably impossible to see, and I am so sorry, but it's, yeah, I had to use the thread because I am using this for a project, so I could not use the yarn to show you. So maybe in the next tutorial it might be a little easier for some things to explain because it'll be a totally different doll in a different style. So we have this, and the last thing you're going to do is you're just going to cut your loops like we did for the bangs. So you kind of go through each one, make sure you're only getting the bottom loop, because sometimes that second stitch will look like the loop and you'll cut it and your entire braid or that, you know, strand will fall apart. Trust me, I did it. So it's not fun. I think that's the last one. I can see. That looks pretty good. Oh, here's one more. Alright, and you do the same thing on this side. See, I almost did that. That was part of a lock. Alright, I think that might be, that's a lot. So that is good. So here we have the Anna braids, we'll say, Anna braids. And you can see this one, it's a little different because this one the bangs are shorter. I think the hair is longer in this one, and I don't know why. It's the same amount of stitches, and it might just be the bands. They might have just, I don't know, given more away. Or you know what it is? It's actually the same. They're the same length. I just, let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, if you put them side by side, they're the same length. It's just, I don't have the body here attached to reference. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is only my second Loomigurumi tutorial, so I am working on different angles, techniques, ways to explain, things like that. So bear with me, and together I'll be able to create some awesome videos in the future. So anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave a comment. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. And you can visit my Facebook page, which is in the description box, as well as my Etsy page where I will be selling my dolls. And again, if you want the pattern to this Anna doll, you can visit Janet Geek on Etsy, and her link will also be in the description box. Alright, so I hope you like this tutorial, and until next time, stay creative.